Welcome to Just Minding My Business Media. I hope you're having an amazing day. Today, I'd like to welcome to Just Minding My Business Cole, who is the co founder of the Copy Agency, which is a leading firm specializing in email marketing and consulting. Under Cole's leadership, the Copy Agency has generated over 106 million in found revenue for their clients. They have sent over 327 million emails with a 67% open rate, helping businesses dramatically scale their revenue through strategic email marketing. Wow. Welcome, Cole. I am impressed, to say the
Well, thank
least.
you. Thank you. Hopefully you still are by the end of this podcast.
Oh yeah, like I told you before we got on air, I need a boot because that's one of my things that's on my to-do list is to get more involved with email marketing. And I have an audience. I just have to find the time, number one. And I know you're gonna help me orchestrate that.
That is the plan. That is the plan. So thank you for having me on.
Thank you. I appreciate it. God send you what you need. And I really needed you at this time because email marketing for a lot of businesses, especially small businesses, maybe businesses that's wearing a lot of hats. And that's one thing they want to do, but they're having a hard time. So, how can the copy agency help us?
Sure, sure. And just a little bit more information as well. The copy agency, I'm actually closing the doors to. I'm opening what's called Inboxing Engine, and that's really designed off of everything we built at the copy agency, but really designed to empower more businesses. 'Cause at the copy agency, we could really only service companies doing 10, 20, $30 million a year, and that leaves out 97, 98% of businesses across the world. So as we get things moving and going over at the Inboxing Engine, there will be some tools and some softwares that'll help tremendously with this. But for today, I definitely want to share how I've been able to go into some smaller, brick and mortar businesses, mom and pop businesses, startups, and help them kind of leverage email in their own way to really maximize the audience that they have, regardless of how big that audience might be. So I'm really excited for that.
Yes, yes. Well, let's get going here. So I see you've worked with some really high level companies. You want to talk a little bit about that?
Yeah, I think a little bit of, I guess I could just tell it through a timeline, almost like a story. My first big copywriting client, this was 8 years ago now. This would have been 2017. It was Ty Lopez. And so a lot of people on the internet know who that is. And whether you like him or you don't like him, that man is just on every computer, every social media site. Just he grew a very large business back in the day. And he was one of my big clients to kind of start with back in the day. And then since then, yeah, I've gone to work on with clients that had, publishing deals with Agora Financial. That was one of the largest info publishers in the world, doing $1 billion in sales. I've worked with supplement companies that are doing, 100 to $150 million a year in sales. And I've also helped, scale companies from zero, where I was there day one and taking sales calls alongside the founders and writing all the copy and writing out all the emails and all that fun stuff. So I've been around for quite a while. I've had my hands in a lot of different businesses. I've played a lot of different roles inside of the businesses, but at the end of the day, the one thing that I have definitely been able to tie back a consistent pattern of is how can you leverage email to maximize ROI and profit, especially when backs against the wall, times are tough or uncertain. Email just seems to be the one where you don't really have to pay to acquire customers. They're already there on your list. And if you can communicate with them in the right way at the right time, man, it can be a lifesaver, whether that's, you have a $2,500, rent bill due for your shop, or, you got a $1,600 mortgage payment, or like some of my clients where their mortgage payments are $50,000, depending on whatever situation you may be in. Email seems to be a way where you can extract a little bit of cash to kind of pad you and cushion you a little bit as you rebuild, restructure, fight through tough times, uncertain times.
Yes, and we are definitely in that time. So we want to hear all about that.
Yeah, absolutely. Would you like me to share, maybe some strategies or processes? What do
Yeah,
you think the audience would love the most?
strategies and processes. Just bring it.
Absolutely. Would love to share it. And I always preface this in the very beginning because the number one question that I get after I start sharing is, will this work for my business? So I'm going to share this kind of overhanging umbrella. No matter what kind of business company you have, no matter how large it is or what corner of the world you happen to operate in, what I'm going to share with you will work. And it will work because a lot of the strategy is going to come down to who you are and what you're willing to share. It's not based off of some get rich quick scheme or like you just push this button and money falls from the sky. What I'm going to share here in just a second is quite literally the foundational principles of like how you should be communicating with customers. Email is one piece of this puzzle, and you can also take this and kind of use this foundational type strategy anywhere. If you get a little extra cash and you want to run some ads, you can follow a similar strategy. If you get a little extra cash and want to run TV, you can run TV commercials. Like it, regardless of how you want to play this game, the foundational principles I'm going to share work no matter if you're a brick and mortar store that sells, you know, cleaning supplies, or if you're a guru with a million followers. Like I've tested it and used it for everything. It works across the board. So just want to get that out of the way because the first thing I get is that won't work for me. And I promise you it will. I've done it. So the simple strategy is it's one email a day. If you can commit to one email a day, you will have a drastically different relationship with your business, with your customers, and with your potential customers. And then the very next thought that comes into people's minds is, well, isn't that bothering people? I don't want to annoy people with my messages. And I'm sure, Ida, you and I haven't had a lot of time to really get to know each other, but the vibe I'm getting from you is if you got something great or if you have something helpful, you should let people know about it, right? And so email is the same way. So that doesn't mean every day we're sending out, one email a day isn't a 20% off coupon or buy my stuff, but it's like, how helpful can you really be for them? And so anyone can commit to one email a day in their schedule. In the beginning, it'll probably take you 30 minutes or 40 minutes to write an email and send it. For me, if I'm going to write an email and send it from blank page to hitting send, it usually takes me about 2 minutes. So I'm faster than most. But as time goes on, you get more experience, you get more used to it. Like you get in a flow with it. Take you 15 minutes, maybe 10 minutes. So fire up the laptop or the computer in the morning, get your email out, good to go. Going on vacation next week, go ahead and just write a bunch of emails today, load and schedule them up for next week. Enjoy your vacation. This works regardless, right? And then, so the overall strategy is like, what content do you send every single day? This is the next question that usually comes up. And so this is the kind of the guiding principles I use no matter what, whether again, you're a kitchenware store in a small town, you're a big guru, doesn't matter. You want to send as much value content as you can without trying to sell anything. And so, for example, if I'm selling, kitchen plates, I'm going to send a lot of content probably around recipes or local markets or maybe even new restaurants that are opening up. Because I want to create this like hub where people want to open my emails because it's helpful, it's informative, it's educational, it's entertaining. It gives them something to look at because they're already going somewhere else for that information. They're looking through Reddit, they're on Google, they're in Facebook groups, they're on Instagram. But if they're already kind of in your ecosystem, why not kind of start bringing them closer and closer into your ecosystem and letting them know like things you're interested in and how you can be helpful for them and the advice and wisdom and everything else you've learned along the way. Same thing if you're a guru, like if you're selling how to run advertising on Facebook, for example. People are like, well, if I teach them how to run advertising in the emails, then they won't buy my course. So besides running a Facebook ad, like they need to know how to build a website or a funnel. They need to know how to create an offer. They need to know how to create visuals or videos or video scripts, or write the copy or whatever it may be, right? So there's like whatever your offer is or product is, and maybe you have a lot of them, there's always something around it that they also need that is extremely helpful. So if you teach them how to do that, they're going to be like, wow, this person like really knows what they're talking about. They're willing to help me. And I definitely need to run ads. I already know how to do all the other stuff now because they've taught me. So now I'll buy. Right. And so that's kind of the approach that I really take to the one email a day. And this email isn't very long, doesn't have really any photos or anything. It's just 100 words, 150 words of how can I help? And so that works if you have 100 subscribers or 1,000.
Okay. Oh, that's good to know. When you said one email a day, I immediately said I could do that. Um,
Absolutely.
and a lot of
Absolutely.
people, um, it's like 3 to 5 per day.
Mhm.
So when you came with one, I'm like,
Yeah.
automatically that's doable.
Yeah. 100%. 100%. For some of my clients, we're sending 30 to 60 a day. Right. But you're talking high level business. You have 300,000 people on your list. You got a bunch of different offers, a couple different brands. You've been in business for 10 years. Like, so you can make different offers to different people. So, but if you're just starting out or if you're not doing email now, one email a day, that will last you until you have $1 million business. One email a day is all you need. Obviously, there's going to be times where you might send more because you have a launch coming up or a webinar or a drop or whatever. Or maybe you're tight on cash this month. You got to send a couple extra emails. Like that's okay, right? I'm not saying don't send more, but one
Right.
email a day. Just keep it really simple. Build the habit, and make that part of your process because that one, it'll help you get clear on your own business, and two, it's a great place to really build an audience and because you own them at the end of the day. Facebook doesn't own it, Instagram doesn't own it, Pinterest doesn't own it, YouTube, like it's yours. You get to use that how you want. And you can take it from email platform to email platform. So it's really pivotable and really usable. So
Yes. And I like the one because when you start new things, it's outside of your comfort zone, so to speak.
oh yeah.
And you've got to sort of I always say, get it in your DNA,
Mm.
and, doing one a day definitely helps you create that habit, as you stated, for sure.
Absolutely. Well, it becomes one of those things. I've been teaching copywriting, email marketing, been teaching for over a decade now, and mostly beginners, definitely some advanced level people, but the bulk of people I've been teaching are beginners. And I've ingrained this in so many people's brains now. When they see me, they're like, I feel weird if I don't send an email. Like I gotta like they'll be at dinner with their friends and then they're like, oh no, I have to go home and write my email. I didn't write my email today. And so they become excited and they start prioritizing their life and their business around making sure that they're getting their emails out, because they're seeing the results. They're seeing that it's reducing ad costs. They're seeing that in times of need they could go to that email list and sell something and put some cash in their pocket or build a strategic relationship, as well. Like if you want to get your foot in the door with a partner or a JV person or a manufacturer or something like that, or you want to do a collab, like you being able to mail and sell their stuff for them at a push of a button is like a massive lever to pull in that relationship because they're more likely to do business with you knowing that you can make that type of an impact that quickly.
Mhm.
So
Absolutely. Wow, that was good. If guys, ladies and gentlemen, if you don't take nothing else away from this conversation, one email a day to get you jump started. So thank you so much for that, Cole.
of course, yeah, of course it will.
So let's talk a little bit about your consulting. So far, I am really loving everything that I'm hearing. So how do you work with people in the consulting realm?
Sure. Yeah. So I do consulting. The majority of people that hire me for consulting are hiring me to more or less kind of drive strategy for their email marketing department. So
Okay.
these are larger companies. These are companies doing usually 40, 50 million a year or more. um and so yeah, they hire me. I come in and find all the problems. I find the KPIs, the key performance indicators, which are just data points, and I figure out which ones are the ones that are telling me whether or not something's working, and then I share that with their team. I'll train their team on best practices, how to inbox better instead of hitting the spam folder, and then also come up with different ways to test against what they currently have set up to see if they can, move the needle, right? If you can increase sales by 1 or 2% in a $50 million company, that's quite a bit of money at the end of the day. That's paying for 10 employees salaries for the year if we can make that kind of a movement. So if we can do that, every couple months, that's really big cash in their pocket. So that's primarily how I work in the consulting space. I also do VIP days. So this is where a company, regardless of their size, they'd fly me out. I'd work with them for an entire day. And it's a long, grueling day where we dive into every nook and cranny of the business. And I share, I map out the entire strategy right there live in front of them with them, as well. And then I help them, plan out different promos, copy, different opportunities for joint venture partnerships, like where I think they'd be a good fit, things that they can maximize revenue on, and really just help them be set up for the whole year. So that's primarily how I do consulting. I used to offer one-on-one coaching. Um, Still not opposed to it, but my calendar is shrinking day by day.
Yeah.
um so I don't do that as much. It's just it costs so much for an hour of my time these days. But I have a book that's free that's out there, and then also I've convinced myself to go the content route, so I'm releasing a handful of courses on YouTube for free that people have paid thousands of dollars for. So don't tell those people, but I am putting that out there. So if it's something that people wanted to learn more about, or whatever that may be, that's definitely out there.
Oh, okay. Wow. So I can't wait to embark on all of that good stuff for sure.
Absolutely.
So again, how do businesses get in touch with you for your services?
Yeah. If you're a business owner that's doing at least $3 million a year and you want to work directly with us, you can go to inboxingengine.com. And then just, let us know what service you want. It's very clearly put on the website. You want us to actually come in and do the email marketing for you, we're happy to do that. If you want us to just help you with getting emails into the inbox as a more of a temporary kind of fix, we do that. And then if you want us to consult with you, we do that as well. And then beyond that, we're building out more resources as well. So like I said, we're putting the courses out, and I have one book out right now. We'll probably put a couple more out here around email and copywriting and stuff that'll be free. And then we're working on a email spam checker tool. So this email spam checker tool, you just copy and paste your email that you want to send into the tool. It'll tell you if it's good or not, and if you what you should change, all that fun stuff. It'll be based off of all the emails we've sent. We send 150 to 200 million emails a year at this point, so we have a lot of data to tell you what works and what doesn't from an inboxing versus spam perspective. So that's rolling out. It's not the highest priority thing, but we are working on it. I'm hoping to get that out in the next 3 to 6 months. And we're also working, like I said in the very beginning, we're working on a plug and play kind of, version of me where no matter what email software you use, a MailChimp, a GetResponse, Go High Level, with a few clicks, you can connect our software to your software. It'll read all your data, and then it'll give you really great suggestions on what to change, what to fix, what to do next, how to make improvements. So that way you're never guessing. And it's way more accessible to, the smaller businesses, because, that's, to hire us as an agency, we're anywhere from $10,000 to $30,000 a month. A lot of businesses aren't making that much in profit. So a $300 or $500 a month option to be able to work with our data and get the same insights is probably a lot more feasible. So that I don't have an ETA on. I'm hoping we can get that launched by the end of the year. That is a very large project we are undertaking currently. So
Yeah, that
really
was gonna
excited
be
about
my next
it.
question, the ETA. But I'll wait. Yeah, because that's amazing. Because a lot of companies they miss that email. They
Yeah.
send out emails only when they have a launch or something going on, and I'm guilty of it. But just to reach out to your customers and give them something they can use right now
Mhm.
is really, really important.
Yeah, I think one of the biggest challenges, and this is why most people don't do email well, no matter what level of business they're at. That's why I have clients that pay me a lot of money that do $100 million a year to come help them with email because they know they're not doing it well. And when you're in business, your primary objective is to acquire a customer at a profit. And so if you're acquiring a customer at a profit, that means you're generating a lead, you're generating an email. And your goal is for those people that you generate leads, your goal is for them to buy without having to email them, right? And so the focus happens to be on, well, we got to keep traffic up, we got to keep our funnel up, our webinar, our VSL, or our landing page. Like we got to focus on the thing because that's the main thing is the main thing. That's
Yeah.
it's an incredibly important business philosophy to have. And so some business owners, very few, but some understand the power of email. And so for those few, they're sending emails and they don't hit every single day, but every couple of days or whatever, they'll send emails. And then when they get to a point where it makes sense for them to let go of that and bring like someone like us in, for example, um, that's when they get to play a completely different game of business because now you can spend more to acquire a customer, which means you're going to beat your competitors, and you get to add more profit back into the business, which means you can hire better talent. And it's this awesome game where they don't have to be the focus anymore. We get to be the focus for them, and it's the only thing that we do. We're not running ads. You know, I don't want to run ads. I don't want to build a funnel. I don't want to design a landing page. I don't want to do any of that stuff. I just want to write and send emails for people and make them a lot of money. And it's where their focus is, and it makes sense. And that's why I think there's a gap in the market with email, and why, regardless of what size business you are, it makes sense that you're not focused on email because you're focused on getting customers and you forget that you've already tried to get a bunch of customers and have all these people that could become customers. So
Yeah, that's true. That's true. Very, very true. Wow. I'm just sitting here in awe right now, because email is really not at the top of the list for most companies.
right.
And what I'm hearing here today, you need to put make it a priority, in your company to send out. I mean, you already have the database,
Mhm.
more than likely, and you just letting them sit.
Yeah, absolutely. It's and I come up from a sales background. I was in the car business for many years when I was younger, managed car dealership, trained salespeople. The difference between the guys that were making 10, 20, $30,000 a month and the guys that were making $3,000 or $4,000 a month was the willingness for them to call people that didn't buy. Was the only difference between the two. It wasn't that they would talk to more people, or it was just they would just talk to people they've already talked to. And so they say the fortune is in the follow up, the money's in the phone, and all that fun stuff. When you're running a business and you're talking to 100 to 1,000 people a day with talking about leads, right? Like, why would you not call them? Why would you not email them? Why would you not text them? There's great opportunities for money. It's the first thing when I'm talking to any business. Like, when's the last time you mailed people that didn't buy from you? When's the last time anybody got on the phone with them and seeing how they're doing, why they didn't buy, what's going on for them? Because it's likely their first experience of you was you ran an ad, they liked it, and then you tried to sell them something which they didn't like, and now they're on your email list, and then you did nothing, which tells them in their brain, most likely as a consumer, they just want my money. But when they see your ad, you try to sell them something, they don't like that, and then you give them valuable information that actually makes their life better without asking anything from them. They start to think maybe this is different. And
Mhm.
sometimes it's that differentiating moment for them where it's like, I'll be a customer. And maybe that customer doesn't become a customer on day 1 or 30 or 90. We've had many instances where we get a 15 or even a $50,000 deal from someone that didn't buy for 2 years. And that happens every day.
Yeah.
So giving up on the cash in your email list is not the best business move. But also spending all of your time in the email list doesn't make any sense either. So that's why I like the one email a day to get people started. Simple, it's easy. You can learn a lot from it, and it's a great way to interact with your audience and really keep in touch with them. So they like it. They
Yeah.
really do. So
Yes. Yes. And I know I like an email that's pretty much not selling me anything, but just giving me some value or a tip on something maybe I hadn't thought about.
yeah,
And, something I can implement today if I
yeah.
need to.
Absolutely. Actionable insights delivered to someone's inboxes. Like it's basically like here's the pot of gold, and then here's the shovel, and then I want you to take these two things and have fun, right? And they love you for it. And they want to come back. And then eventually when you do make them an offer, even though they may not like being sold to, they're like, you know what? They've helped me out enough. I'll hear them out.
Yeah.
They've
Yeah.
given me enough value. I'll hear them out, right? And that's really the kind of the relationship you're trying to create, where for every 3 or 4 value emails you send out, one of them would be a promotional email, and that weighs it heavier on the value side, so that way that negative emotion or negative feeling that may come up for them when you're selling them something isn't as large in comparison to the value they've received.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So let's talk little bit about AI, because now they have so many different AI tools out there for email.
Mhm.
As a matter of fact, it sort of gets on my nerves because sometimes I'm creating an email to someone and it'll automatically rewrite what I wrote, not in my voice.
Mhm.
And then I've got to like spend 5 minutes to get rid of what they wrote and go back to what I wrote. So, what's your thoughts on that?
I'll share this with you. I think I'm probably one of like the younger that come from this generation, but I'm thinking about it like this. I'm gonna use a story and a metaphor here. I'll keep it really short and brief for you. But for me, right, there's no shortcut to learning what you need to learn, right? So like for example, when I was younger and I acted up, my mom would beat me. Not like beat me up and
I
fight
know
me,
what
but
you
like
mean.
she beat me, right?
Oh,
And
yeah.
even after I get beat enough, I learned that lesson, right?
Yeah.
So same thing when I'm learning skills that I want to use for the rest of my life. Like I don't want to just be told, oh, don't do that because you'll get beat. I want to go through the experience and learn the ins and outs of it, why that happened, why that wasn't probably quite right. So that way, when I go out into the world, I can show up the way I want to. So, like from a copywriting or an emailing perspective, like yes, if you just start writing emails by yourself out of the gate, they're not going to be good emails, and that's part of the process, right? If you use AI today to just generate your emails and to write your emails, even if you learn how to use it and how to prompt it and it looks good and you like it, you don't know why it worked. You don't know what worked about it, and you won't know how to duplicate that in the future. And worst of all, out of all of that, is you don't know if AI will be here next month or if it's illegal. You won't know if they completely shut down and go bankrupt. So it's a tool to use to your advantage, right? And I'm not saying not to use it, but you don't want to use it as a complete crutch to learning the skill. You really want to go through the process of sucking, right?
Yeah.
And so I like to use, like for me, I use AI every single day, and I use it as a thinking sparring partner. So here's my idea. Tell me why it sucks. Or here's all the things I need to get done today. Help me prioritize them. Or here's my big vision that I have. Help me break this down into a mission and actionable steps I can take. Like instead of write this email for me, which the email doesn't have to be anything special. If it's you have a heating and air conditioning company, your email could very much be pretty hot this summer, right? And then just write about, hey, Tom and Sally from this neighborhood over here gave us a call last week, said that it got over 90 degrees in their house. I don't know if you knew this or not, but that's not safe for your pets, right? Once they gave us a call, we were able to get a technician out there within the first 30 minutes. We were able to diagnose the issue, and they didn't even need to buy a new heating and air conditioning system. All they needed was a recharge. Cost them $100, took about an hour, and everything was set up, and their fluffy friends were all like safe and good to go. If you need anything at all this summer, give us a call, right? And that could be the email. It's not like some magical story. It's not really heavy in copywriting. There's no headlines or hooks or it's just what happened, right?
Right.
So the big thing is like don't overthink it. AI can be a great thinking partner. It can write emails for you. I don't think it should. And I'm not saying that because I think it'll take my job away. I care less about that. It takes away your opportunity to learn because like if I'm using AI to write an email and then someone that's new is using AI to write an email, my AI version is going to be 100 times better because I know what works and what doesn't work and why it works and how it works. And I know it better than Chat GPT or any of the AI tools, right? So I'm going to be able to manipulate that thing to get the email as good as it can possibly get. And it will significantly outperform yours anyways. And so you don't want to be in the exact same spot you're at now where I'm a great copywriter and you're a new copywriter. The difference is I'm a great copywriter with AI and you're a new copywriter with AI. Like that you're not bridging any gap by not learning. And I think that's the false belief that a lot of people have. And it's because a lot of gurus are selling courses and coaching and all that stuff on how to use it and tools and prompts and all that stuff. And it's a hot market to sell stuff in right now. People want to buy it. But at
Yeah.
the end of the day, if you don't learn the skill, it's really hard to use it and in the most effective way.
And I have to agree with you. And you made me think about back in college, we were learning how to do HTML,
Mhm.
and the teacher made us sort of do it from scratch
Mhm.
because of the same rationale. You need to know how to do it.
Yeah.
You need to know why you doing this, why this, and you need to understand the whole thing. And then if you want to use a program, you know exactly what that program is doing.
Mhm. Yeah. Absolutely. You can actually get something out of it instead of just being, playing victim and being handcuffed by whatever it does for you and you not knowing, you
Yes,
know.
absolutely. So
Yeah.
your book, let's real quickly. What's the name of your book?
It's called Email Deliverability. And you can grab it on Amazon. I think it's like $20, or you could get a digital copy for free. If you guys want, just inboxingbook.com. It's 200 and something pages. It is not a storybook. So it is not fun. It is very much how to do it, how to get emails into the inbox. That's 100%. That's what that book is. It's a technical manual on how to do it. Step by step, standard operating procedures, processes, everything that we use internally for ourselves. We put it in a book. We added a lot of context. We took out a lot of the technical jargon that I don't even really understand what some of those words mean. And I replaced it with words everybody would understand. So it's really designed to help anybody just make sure everything's set up properly, understand how to get emails into the inbox instead of into spam, and best practices for email and all that fun stuff. So
Okay, well, I'm gonna have to go pick that up. So Cole, thank you so much. You have really dropped a lot of gems on us today. And I'm really appreciative. And I know that my audience is grateful as well because, like you said, the email is one of the overlooked things in business, but it is a very important thing that we can capitalize on. So thank you so much for all of this information that you shared today. And I am definitely looking forward to having you back because you might have to remind some of us.
Yeah, 100%. I would love to come back. This was fun. I hope your viewers and listeners they got a lot of value out of this, and my hope is more emails get sent. There can never be too many emails. I know I'm the email guy and I'm saying that, but man, I just like it could just change someone's business forever. An extra 1,000, 2,000 bucks a month coming in from email could change someone's life. Just
Absolutely.
so doesn't
Absolutely.
have to be big numbers to be meaningful.
You're right about that. You're right about that. So thank you so much, Cole. We are definitely going to do this again.
Sounds great. Thank you so much.